Avery Lane grips the steering wheel until her fingers cramp. The world tilts, then snaps back, like a bad camera shutter. Her brain tumor does that now, a cruel little metronome. The address sits on a printed work order. Apartment 9C client. Is deceased requested by next of kin. Avery parks, swallows bile and steps into cold Manhattan air. The doorman studies her pallor, then the rolling cart. He says the unit has not been opened in weeks.
Please, I am expected.
The elevator climbs. Every floor a slow drumbeat in her skull. She counts breaths 4 in 4 out like a prayer. At 9C she knocks, and her knuckles remember an older door. The lock clicks, and an elderly woman peers through the gap.
You are the organizer?
Yes, Avery Lane, from Harbor Keepsakes.
Grace Reed opens the door wider, eyes sharp with grief.
You look ill. You should not be here.
I can do the work. I will be careful.
Avery tries to smile, and the effort tastes like metal. She wheels the cart inside, and sunlight hits a wall of photos. Hundreds of landscapes, pinned and framed a private atlas. In the center is a young man on a desert ridge laughing. Avery's lungs forget how to move. She knows that face, even after 10 years of silence. Noah Reed, the transfer student who sat behind her in English, the boy she loved in secret. Now a dead client on paper.
This is his place?
It was. He is gone.
Avery's vision halos. Lavender at the edges like bruised light. Her knees buckle and she catches the bookshelf to stay upright.
Sit, now.
Grace pushes her onto a chair, hands brisk and practiced. Avery hears her own pulse, loud as a siren.
I am fine. It is just a headache.
Headache is a small word for what your face is saying.
Grace pours water, sets pills on the table without asking. Avery does not take them. She does not trust her hands. Instead, she looks around, as if the room can explain itself. Camera bags line the couch, tagged with airport codes. A shelf holds postcards, each one addressed to Grace. On the mantel is a framed bookmark pressed like a leaf. It is a strip of yellow paper torn clean in half. Avery's throat tightens. She knows that paper too. Senior year. She dropped it between pages, then searched for days. Noah found it, she thought, but he never said a word.
He kept everything, even the small things.
He kept my bookmark?
Grace watches her with a careful, measuring silence.
You knew him.
A long time ago.
Avery stands too fast, and the room lurches again. In that lurch, time cracks open like old lacquer. For one heartbeat, the apartment is not quiet. She hears a younger laugh, a camera shutter, sneakers on tile.
Hey, you dropped this.
Avery spins, but the room is still, only dust moving in light.
Did you hear that?
Hear what?
Avery presses fingers to her temple, fighting nausea. She tells herself it is disease, not magic. Still, her eyes keep darting to the torn bookmark. Grace clears her throat, brittle as winter branches.
I hired you because he asked me to.
He asked you to hire me?
He left instructions, names, notes.
Grace crosses to the bookcase and kneels with a grunt. She pulls out a hardback with a faded school stamp. It is a copy of The Great Gatsby, corners worn soft. Avery's own handwriting curls on the inside cover. Property of Avery Lane. Her name looks like a ghost in blue ink.
How is that here?
Because he kept it. He kept you in pieces.
Avery's stomach drops and tears come without permission. She reaches for the book, then flinches as pain spikes again. A sharp white line cuts through her sight, then fades. Grace steadies her elbow, gentler now.
You should go home.
If I leave, I will not come back. I know myself. I need to do this, please.
Grace hesitates, then nods once, a reluctant blessing.
Fine, but you tell me when you need to stop.
Avery opens the book. A half bookmark rests inside. The matching half, the one she still has, burns in her pocket. She does not pull it out yet. Not until she can breathe. On the first page is a note in a familiar boyish script. If you find this, you found her. Take care of her, Grandma. Avery's hands shake. The conflict is no longer outside. It is inside her chest, fighting for air. She came to clear a stranger's home. She just walked back into the only love she never admitted. They start in the living room, slow and deliberate. Avery sorts lens caps, batteries, memory cards into labeled trays. Each item feels like a pulse of Noah's life. Grace sits nearby, folding cloths, watching without hovering. Every few minutes, Avery pauses, hand on the table, breathing through pain. She tells herself the job ends in a week. And so might she. If time is cruel, she can still choose the shape of goodbye. In a drawer, she finds a stack of bookstore receipts. The same tiny shop where she used to work in college. Her throat tightens again, a new kind of ache. She looks up at the photo wall, searching for that shop. A street scene appears blurred in rain, a neon sign reflected in puddles. Her shop. His camera saw her long after she stopped, looking back.
How many times did you come, Noah?
Grace does not answer. Because Grace does not know yet. Avery knows she will, if she keeps opening drawers. The apartment smells of cedar and old paper. It smells like high school hallways and missed chances. Outside, the city keeps moving, careless and bright. Inside, Avery begins to catalog a life and unseal her own. Day 2 arrives with snow, and Avery arrives with trembling hands. Grace lets her in without a word, a small mercy. Avery finds the same chair, the same water glass, the same wall of worlds. Her headache is quieter, but it crouches in the corners. She opens a closet and finds a cardboard box labeled school. Inside are notebooks, a yearbook, and a thin stack of weekly journals. Noah's handwriting slants forward, like he is always moving. Avery sits on the floor and reads, unable to stop. Week 1, new school, new city, window girl again. He writes about a girl by the window, quiet, always reading. He notices her hair when the vent breeze lifts it. He compares it to a cattail, soft and stubborn. Avery's chest tightens, the recognition almost painful.
That was me.
Grace stands in the doorway. Arms folded, face unreadable.
He never said her name in front of me.
He wrote it anyway.
Avery turns pages. Week 3. He finds a torn bookmark. He writes that he keeps it, because it feels like a promise. Week 4. He waits outside a bookstore. Hands in pockets rain on his hair. He writes one line, then scratches it out, then writes again. I missed her by minutes. Avery's stomach flips. Her old job comes back. Neon and coffee. Pain stabs behind her eyes and the room shifts. The floor becomes wet pavement. The air smells like rain and ink. A young Noah stands under a cheap umbrella, looking at the door. His cheeks are red from cold. He keeps checking his watch.
She will be out soon.
Avery's heart pounds. She tries to step closer. Her feet do not move. She is trapped in her own skull. The fragment flickers. The bookstore sign flashes. The scene dissolves. She is back on the apartment floor, the journal open on her lap.
I saw him. I saw him waiting.
You mean you remembered?
Avery wants to argue, but she cannot prove what she feels. She keeps reading, chasing the edge of the fragment. Week 6, he writes about chest pain during gym. Week 8, a hospital visit he calls routine, then crosses out routine. Week 9, he plans to tell her he likes her handwriting. He plans to do it after class, by the stairwell. Avery's throat tightens. The stairwell is where she once hid a letter. She stops reading and stands. Dizzy with memory, she moves to the photo wall, searching for anything from that year. Behind a framed desert shot, she finds a thin photo album. The album is stuffed, edges cracked, pages heavy with tape. She flips through landscapes, then pauses at a school photo strip. Noah at 16 laughing, making a dumb face at the camera. Next to it, a folded paper tucked into the binding. Avery's fingers hover, afraid to touch. She pulls it out. It is her letter written at 17, the one she never gave him, the one she hid in a book. It is creased and soft, like it has been opened many times.
He had it.
He found it.
Avery's hands shake as she reads the first line. I like the way you laugh when you try not to. She reads the rest in silence, cheeks wet, breath uneven. There is no reply on the paper. only her old confession. Still, Noah kept it like it was sacred. Her head throbs again, and time splits in a new place. She is in a school hallway. Lockers slam. Shoes squeak. Noah stands by the stairwell, letter in his hand. He is pale, but his eyes are bright with determination.
Avery. Wait.
Avery moves, desperate, and the scene jerks forward. A bell rings. Students flood the stairs. She cannot reach him. His mouth opens, then his hand goes to his chest. A teacher shouts. Someone calls for help. The fragment cuts out like a broken film reel. Avery is back in the apartment, gasping.
That was the day he left school.
He did not come home that night.
Grace's voice is steady, but her eyes shine with old fear. Avery presses the letter to her chest, like it can hold her together. Her own illness feels like a mirror held too close. She came here to pack boxes. Instead, she is unpacking a decade of silence. She asks Grace for a trash bag, then cannot throw a single thing away. Every object is a sentence Noah never got to say. Every sentence lands late. But it lands.
You can take breaks. Eat something.
If I stop, I will lose the thread.
Grace nods and places a bowl of soup beside her without debate. Avery eats 2 spoonfuls, then returns to the journal. At the bottom of a page, Noah wrote one more line circled twice. If she reads this one day, I hope she forgives the timing. Avery closes the book, shaking, and whispers into the quiet room.
I forgive you, I just hate the clock.
Avery writes one more label, careful with every letter. She wonders how many goodbyes a person can survive. The apartment answers with silence, and she keeps going. Each box closes with a soft thud, like a heartbeat ending. She counts objects the way she counts days, one by one. She tries not to rush, because rushing caused enough loss. Grace watches, and in her eyes Avery sees the same fear. Somewhere in the photos Noah keeps smiling still light. On day 3, Avery wakes with her left hand numb. She flexes her fingers until sensation returns in pins and heat. She lies to herself that it is just sleep posture. Then she takes the subway anyway, because denial is movement. Grace is already waiting. A taped box on the table.
These arrived from storage. He told me to keep them sealed.
He told you?
Grace nods once, jaw tight. Avery cuts the tape. The smell of leather and dust rises. Inside is Noah's camera wrapped in a worn hoodie. Under it is a folder stamped with a cardiology clinic name. Avery's stomach turns. Paper can hurt more than objects. She opens the folder with slow care. Congenital heart condition, episodes, restrictions. Risk of sudden failure. The dates start in high school, then stretch into adulthood. Avery's eyes blur, not from tears at first, but from pressure in her skull.
He was sick the whole time.
Yes?
Grace's voice is flat, like she practiced it in private.
He wanted you protected from it.
Protected or kept out.
The words come out sharper than she means, and she hates herself for it. She pulls out the camera and runs her thumb along the grip. It fits her hand like he is guiding her fingers. Grace hands her a memory card reader, quiet as surrender. They plug the card into a laptop on the kitchen counter. The screen fills with thumbnails, a lifetime of light, mountains at sunrise, empty highways, neon streets, ocean storms. And then, a small bookstore on a side street, captured in gentle rain. Avery freezes. She recognizes the window display she arranged at 20. She opens the photo full size, and her breath catches. In the reflection of the glass, she is there stocking shelves. She looks younger, tired, unaware. She is being held in a frame. On the back of the printed image is a scanned note. Handwritten. Waited for her after work. Day 32.
32 days?
Her voice cracks. Grace turns away. Blinking hard, Avery scrolls backward. The pattern repeats, the same street, different nights, different angles. Noah never enters the shop in these photos. He stays outside, as if crossing the threshold would ruin the spell. Avery feels heat flood her face. Grief and rage tangled together.
Why did you not come in?
Her head spikes with pain, and the room fractures. Rain slaps pavement. A siren wails too close. Noah stands under his umbrella, pale, breathing hard.
Just one more minute.
His fingers tremble around the handle. He takes a step, then stumbles. An ambulance stops at the curb. Doors fly open. A paramedic shouts his name. Like it has been said before, Noah looks toward the bookstore window, eyes desperate.
Tell her, I tried.
The fragment tears away. Avery is back, hands gripping the counter. She retches into the sink, shaking, vision flashing white.
Sit, breathe.
Grace rubs her back with one hand. Not gentle but solid. Avery wipes her mouth, fury rising through tears.
You knew he waited there.
I knew he went. I did not know the number of days.
You let him go alone.
Grace flinches. The old woman's strength wavers for the first time.
Do you think I did not try to stop him? Do you think I did not beg him to rest?
Her voice lifts, then breaks, grief finally audible.
He said, if I do not go, I will regret it forever.
Avery's anger collapses into shame because she understands that sentence too well. She presses a cold glass to her forehead, trying to steady herself.
The day he left school, do you remember the date?
Grace opens the folder again, finger tracing a line on a report.
April 12th, 10 years ago.
Avery's lungs lock. April 12th is the day she wrote the letter again. Final draft. It is the day she planned to hand it to him after class. She never saw him by the stairwell. She assumed he moved on. He was in an ambulance, and she was holding paper in a library.
I hated myself for being a coward. He was dying and I did not know.
Grace reaches across the table and places her palm over Avery's hand.
You were a child. He was too.
Avery blinks, and the tears that fall feel older than her body. She looks at the camera again, a black box full of his gaze. For the first time, she feels something besides grief. She feels a strange gratitude, sharp and unbearable. Because he saw her, he kept seeing her, even when she thought she was invisible.
Can I print these photos?
Yes, take what you need.
Avery nods, swallowing nausea and emotion, and starts a new folder. She names it candy without knowing why. Her mouth tastes like sugar that has gone stale. But she keeps working. Avery writes one more label, careful with every letter. She wonders how many goodbyes a person can survive. The apartment answers with silence, and she keeps going. Each box closes with a soft thud, like a heartbeat ending. She counts objects the way she counts days. One by one, she tries not to rush, because rushing caused enough loss. Grace watches, and in her eyes Avery sees the same fear. Somewhere in the photos, Noah keeps smiling, still light. Day 4 starts with a phone call from Avery's doctor. She lets it ring twice, then answers with a steady voice.
Hello.
The doctor says the scan looks worse. Words softened by training. Avery listens, nods, and thanks him like he handed her a receipt. When she hangs up, the silence swells, thick and heavy. She sits on her bed and stares at her hands until they stop shaking. Then she goes to Noah's apartment anyway. Grace greets her with a thermos and a worried line between brows.
You are late today.
I had an appointment.
Avery does not say what kind. Grace does not force the truth. They work in the bedroom now, where the light is softer. Avery opens a drawer and finds a small leather journal. It is not a school journal. It is adult, careful, intimate. The first page has a date from last year, written in thick ink. The last year he was alive. Avery sits on the edge of the bed, journal in her lap, breath shallow. She reads slowly because every line feels like a goodbye. Noah writes about airports, about pain, about pretending he is fine. He writes about not telling Avery because he is afraid she will look at him with pity. He writes about the first time he saw her handwriting on a bookstore chalkboard. He writes, it felt like a hand on my chest, steadying my heart. Avery's eyes sting. She blinks, and her vision smears at the edges. She stands and walks to the window for air. The city outside is bright, indifferent, full of people who think they have time. Avery presses her forehead to cool glass and exhales. Behind her, Grace speaks softly, as if the room itself is fragile.
He wanted you to read that
Why now?
because he knew you would understand the weight of days.
Avery turns, her mouth opens, then closes because Grace is right. Avery knows the weight of days now in a way she never wanted. Pain spikes again, and she clutches the windowsill. A fragment arrives clearer than before, like a door held open. She is on the roof of the building, wind, cold sky, the color of steel. Noah stands near the railing, camera strap around his wrist. He looks 28, but thinner, his smile brave and tired.
I did not know how to say it without ruining you.
Avery tries to speak, but sound does not leave her mouth. Noah steps closer, eyes fixed on her like she is the only landmark.
I like your quiet. I like your patience. I like your ink. I love you, Avery. I loved you for 10 years.
The words hit like sunlight after a storm, too late and still warm. Avery's knees give and she falls to the roof, sobbing without noise. Noah kneels beside her, hand hovering, afraid to touch the timeline.
If there is another life, I will be faster.
The fragment shakes. The wind becomes a roar. Avery blinks, and she is back in the bedroom, on the carpet. Grace is kneeling, calling her name, fear breaking through composure.
Avery, Avery, look at me.
Avery swallows, throat raw, and forces her eyes open.
I am here. I am still here.
Grace helps her to the bed, hands trembling now.
You should not push like this.
I do not have the luxury of slow.
The sentence shocks Grace, and then she nods, understanding blooming painfully.
How long?
Avery could lie. She does not.
About 6 months, maybe less.
Grace closes her eyes, grief folding inward.
He would have hated that you were alone with it.
I was not alone. I had work.
It is a thin joke, and they both almost smile. Avery opens the journal again, careful, reverent. Near the end, Noah writes 1 page, slower letters pressed hard. If I could redo the day, I would tell her in the hallway. If I could redo the year, I would walk into that bookstore. If I could redo my body, I would keep my heart steady for her. Avery runs her finger along the ink. Like Braille. It feels like touching his hand through time. She wipes her face, stands, and makes a decision.
I want to finish the apartment. All of it.
Today?
Today.
They carry boxes to the living room, labeling with quiet focus. Avery chooses what to keep, what to donate, what to burn into memory. By late afternoon, she asks Grace to unlock the roof door. They step into wind and pale sunlight. Avery sets 1 framed photo on a small table. Noah on a desert ridge. She sets the torn bookmark beside it, both halves now aligned. Grace watches, hands clasped. Breathing, shaky.
I used to think love was a confession. Now I think it is a record, kept even when no one listens.
Grace nods, tears slipping down without shame. Avery closes her eyes and lets the wind dry her face. If time cannot be reversed, it can still be honored. Avery writes 1 more label, careful with every letter. She wonders how many goodbyes a person can survive. The apartment answers with silence and she keeps going. Each box closes with a soft thud, like a heartbeat ending. She counts objects the way she counts days, 1 by 1. She tries not to rush, because rushing caused enough loss. Grace watches, and in her eyes Avery sees the same fear. Somewhere in the photos Noah keeps smiling, still light. Day 5 tastes like dust and peppermint tea. Avery wakes before dawn, nausea rolling like tide. She sits on the bathroom floor until the wave passes. Then she texts Grace that she is coming even if she walks. Grace replies with a single word, okay. In the apartment, the rooms look different, emptier, lighter. Boxes line the walls like quiet witnesses. Avery checks each label, making sure it matches the catalog. She is meticulous because control is comfort. Grace hands her a small tin, dented, painted with faded flowers.
This was in his nightstand. I could not open it.
Avery opens the tin. Inside are hard candies, wrappers intact. Peppermint, strawberry, lemon. All long expired. Under them is a folded note on thin paper. Avery unfolds it carefully, as if it could crumble. The note is in Noah's hand. If she ever comes back, give her the candy. Tell her it is late, not ruined. Avery laughs once, strangled, then starts to cry.
He saved candy for me.
He saved everything for you.
Avery wipes her face and sets the tin on the table like an offering. She finishes the last checklist, and the work ends with a click of a pen. The apartment is no longer a shrine, it is a wrapped goodbye. Grace makes tea. Avery holds the warm mug with both hands. Her vision blurs again, this time softer like fog. She hears a shutter sound, distant, affectionate. A fragment opens gentle as a page turning. She is in the bookstore at 20, stacking new arrivals. Noah stands outside the window, older than high school, thinner than he should be. He does not come in. He smiles anyway, like seeing her is enough.
Maybe she is happy. That is enough for today.
Avery's throat tightens. She presses her palm to the glass from inside. Noah lifts his hand to match hers, palm to air. They do not touch, they still connect. The fragment fades with a slow kindness, leaving warmth behind. Avery opens her eyes in the apartment, tears on her cheeks.
Tell me about his last day.
Grace inhales, then speaks. Voice fragile now.
He came home from the hospital. He sat on this couch. He watched the sunset through that window, and he smiled. He said, I saw her once more in my mind, so I am ready.
Avery nods, heartbreaking and settling at the same time. She takes out her own half bookmark from her coat pocket. She places it beside the other half, a perfect tear mended by alignment. Then she pulls out a small envelope she brought today. It is addressed to Grace, but meant for Noah too.
I wrote something for both of you.
Grace opens it, and her eyes fill as she reads the first line. Avery cannot see the whole page, but she knows what she wrote. Thank you for answering me, even when time kept interrupting. Thank you for seeing me in the quiet. Thank you for keeping the candy, even when it expired. Avery asks to go to the roof one more time. Grace helps her up the stairs. Slow, steady, step by step. The sky is clear, winter sun low and gold. Avery sits in a chair, wrapped in a blanket facing the horizon. Grace sits beside her holding the tin of candy in her lap. For a while they say nothing, letting the city hum below. Avery's pain eases into a distant pressure, like a hand finally unclenched.
I used to think missed love was pointless. Now, I think it shaped me, and that matters.
It mattered to him. It matters to me.
Avery smiles. It is small, but it is real. She takes one peppermint candy, turns it in her fingers. She does not eat it. She holds it as if holding time. The sun sinks. The light turns honey, then fades. When they go downstairs, Avery moves slower than before. Grace insists on walking her to the door. In the hallway, Avery pauses, suddenly dizzy.
Do you want me to call someone?
No! Just stay with me for a minute.
Grace holds her, a firm arm around her shoulders. Avery breathes until the dizziness loosens. She leaves with the bookmark halves in her pocket. Together at last. 2 weeks later, snow falls again over Manhattan. Grace receives a small box from Avery's apartment manager. Inside is the peppermint candy tin, and Avery's half bookmark. There is also a note, written in Avery's careful hand. Thank you for letting me taste it. 10 years late is still sweet. Grace sits at her kitchen table and weeps, but not only from grief. She weeps because two young hearts finally met, if only in artifacts. She places the note beside Noah's journal and closes both gently. Outside, the city keeps moving inside. The sweetness lingers, quiet, expired, and somehow everlasting. Avery writes one more label, careful with every letter. She wonders how many goodbyes a person can survive. The apartment answers with silence, and she keeps going. Each box closes with a soft thud, like a heartbeat ending. She counts objects the way she counts days, one by one. She tries not to rush, because rushing caused enough loss. Grace watches, and in her eyes Avery sees the same fear. Somewhere in the photos, Noah keeps smiling, still light.
Thanks for watching. Follow for more romance stories.